So how many times have you been on track?
This is my first time as a driver on track.
Oh, okay.
I've been on track with my husband in either Spec Miata, well, not in Spec Miata, in his track day stuff. Once at Laguna Seca. Once at Laguna Seca, and that was about it.
Mm-hmm.
He's tried to get me to do this prior to this point, and I felt a little bit like, I don't know. I don't know if I feel completely comfortable with the pressure that I kind of thought that there would be in the experience.
Mm-hmm.
I had an idea that maybe I wouldn't be fast enough and I'd be holding up people, or maybe I would be... I put a lot of pressure on myself to want to do it perfectly the first time, which is ridiculous. You have to give yourself space to be a beginner. And so I had booked one session, and then we ended up canceling at the beginning of COVID, and then this session came up, and I knew I could have an in-car coach, and so I thought, yeah, this is the time. And it was a really fantastic experience. So I highly recommend it.
And what were the highlights of it?
There were a few things. One is that I learned a lot even in the classroom sessions. The components on grip were really helpful to understand what the car is doing when you're doing certain things to it, so what the inputs are versus what the outputs are. And that was really important. It changed my driving.
In one day?
Yeah, for sure. From one session to the next session, it completely changed my driving. I had some bad habits of doing things like pushing in the clutch rather than just hitting the brakes, and you have to understand like why you're hitting the brake. When you understand that when you push the brake in, the nose goes down, which increases your grip in the front, which completely changes how the car maneuvers on the track. It completely undid the circuit that said, if I want to slow down going into a turn, I was trying to do too many things in a turn beforehand on the street, but coming out of this, I think it's going to be very different. So my understanding of both safety and the mechanics of what's going on have changed, especially related to the physics of what's going on with the car.
So do you think it's going to affect your driving off the track?
I know it will. One of the things about having a car like this is that I have to remind myself on the freeway to take it easy because I don't want a speeding ticket. Because it's really easy to on-ramp and suddenly be doing 85 or 90, which is like, people don't like that. People get intense about it. But the other part of it is, even driving in the streets, driving in my neighborhood, if I'm coming up and I'm trying to make the hard right into my road to get to my driveway, where my house is, the lanes go from 2 to 1, like immediately at that spot. And so there's this tendency to want to slow down, downshift, you've got a whole lot of things going on simultaneously. So I'm braking and shifting at the same time, which is really stupid, because if I brake ahead of time and make the shift, I'm going to be able to negotiate that turn a whole lot more safely and with a lot more control.
So like some of the concepts you've learned and you were able to experience on track have...
I'm going to be able to apply them on a day-to-day basis. Both driving just in the neighborhood and then getting on the freeway. And it's I feel more confident coming out of this than I did going into it, which I think is like, you don't know what you don't know when you're coming into a situation like this. But this gave me some more confidence and also some more of an understanding of what's actually happening, and then like what to do when something goes wrong. So that, I think, going forward will make things a lot different, especially this winter. If we see snow again, what's going to happen if it snows or if it ices up? Like, what do you do if you start sliding down the road? Where before I felt a little bit like driving in the snow, just slow way down, which is a good perspective to have. But even when you're going slow, you can have things happen.
So what about Hooked on Driving? What's your impression of the company and the coaches and the presentation?
I had a great coach. I was nervous coming into it, wondering, what the expectation was going to be on me, but the overall education was super supportive. As a woman driver, I didn't feel like anybody was talking down to me. I felt like I belonged here just as much as anybody else. There were great opportunities in the classroom. There was lots of good feedback in the car. I would do this again for sure.
What would you tell other women that, like yourself, that might be wondering whether or not they should learn to drive a high-performance car?
Do it.
Like,
it's you are only limited by the limitations you place on yourself. If you decide that this is only for the boys, or this is only something that this isn't something for me because I'm a woman and it's scary, you're severely limiting your own experience. This for me was an opportunity to figure out, is this something that I like to do? Is this something that I'm having fun with? And the answer is most definitely yes. Yeah, for sure.